The Sports Leader presents a two-time Heisman Trophy finalist.
Luck takes a snap, sprints right, pressure coming. He throws on the move, and it's caught in the end zone. Zach Ertz, touchdown. What a pass by Andrew Luck.
And a four-time Pro Bowler.
Luck steps up, throwing over the middle for T.Y. Hilton. He's open at the 20, to the 10, to the 5, and Indianapolis has come all the way back 64 yards from Luck.
Who has come back to where it all started. Here is the general manager of Stanford football, Andrew Luck, on The Sports Leader.
We do it with him each and every week. Andrew Luck, the general manager of Stanford football, joins us on the UMA guest line. Stanford taking on BYU at BYU this Saturday, 7:15 over on KNBR 1050. Andrew, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Just getting ready for practice to start. Walking around campus. I'm giggling at the intro to me. It reminds me that I lost the Heisman twice.
Dude, I was just about to bring that up to you. I was like, dude, I was going to ask if that rankles you a little bit. I was like, should we be shouting this out? Like he's finished behind Cam Newton and RG3. He's gotta hear this every week.
I've come to peace. I've come to peace with it.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Andrew Luck with us, dude. So you guys had a week off. I mean, after the tough one at Hawaii, but a week off. How have you taken that in for the first time as a general manager? Did you watch college football? Did you scout the ACC? I mean, what did that look like for you this weekend?
Yeah, no, I watched football. I mean, we practiced and we were working and we made sure our guys stayed on the same rhythm of a game week. And so we had to get better, right? I mean, a big focus of ours is going to continue. Can we be the best at getting better as a football team? So we were certainly putting the work in. Watched some college football over the weekend. Tried to get my 5.5-year-old to sit down with me and watch. And she did all right. She did all right. Had BYU on. Had a barbecue with the guys. And but yeah, no, it was a good week of getting better. And you know. Also, I remember I felt this playing, and I certainly feel this as a GM, and a lot of this is new, for me, new experience as a GM. But once the season gets rolling, you sort of want to just keep on playing, But we took advantage of the bye week for getting better, and we're excited we're playing this week.
What did you make of your competition in the ACC from what you saw? Florida State, Belichick at UNC, Miami. Anybody stand out to you?
You know what? There were certainly some high-profile games, and look, week one is just 1 point of data. We know the ACC is going to be competitive, and so that great, awesome, big games as it should be. But I hesitate to comment on those teams with one week and one point of data. I mean, I think my focus has been how do we prepare for BYU in an awesome, tough, hostile atmosphere up in Provo.
Talking to Andrew Luck, nice enough to join us on the UMA guest line. So tell me what that means from a football standpoint, because it's not just a college level thing to say we want to be the best at getting better. And certainly for teams that, the NFL season's about to start, and every team would say their goal is to win the Super Bowl, but it's not necessarily the reality for every franchise every season. So what does that mean for you guys, and from a football standpoint at this point in the year, to get better each week? How does that happen sometimes with talent that's not necessarily at the same level?
Yeah, all the best teams that I was on, whether it was at Stanford or the Colts, the high performing ones, they all got better every week, regardless of of who was on the team. And by and large, winning or losing is a product of what type of football you play, and so we do have to be a team, this year and in perpetuity, that takes every practice, every meeting, every walkthrough, that takes every opportunity and approaches it like, can I improve? Can I get better? And the results will come from, an attitude and an approach that way.
Talking to Andrew Luck on the UMA guest line. So, yeah, Bill Belichick's going through it today after his loss last night. And his biggest challenge is having to adjust to being an NFL coach for so long and then going into college. Same thing with Frank Reich and your head coach. Has Frank talked to you about the challenges of being an NFL coach for so long and now getting used to college as a coach?
What Coach Reich's done, I think, a great job of, and he'll continue to do this throughout the season, is one, just prep for the differences in the college rule book, right? Clock stopping on first downs, going out of bounds rules. There are things that he has to be on top of, especially and how you call 2-minute drives, when you go out and kick a field goal, when you punt, things like that. So he's certainly steeped himself in it as much as he can, and we have a staff who who supports them. And then I think what Coach Reich and I have spent a fair bit of time talking about as well is the young men in our team are just that, they're young, right?
Yeah.
We have 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and so what you might take for granted in the NFL as just an understood, you might need to be a little more explicit about. And at the same time, there's so many positives to youthful energy, right? And young men believing in something, and that's certainly what I'm feeling on our team. And I know he's having a heck of a time in an incredibly positive way of being a mentor to a lot of these young men.
What did you need from your coach? Like when you look back now at being a college player and being the prospect you were, and having a guy like Harbaugh and David Shaw's there. Then you go to the NFL and you've got Pagano, and it's a business at some point and it changes. What did you need that was different? Because I think that's what we look at where we go, these kids are really young, and a guy from Frank Reich's position came from being a player into being a coach for a long time. What did you need as a player that was different at those levels?
Yeah, I think about my one and only year playing for Coach Reich. I was a 7th-year NFL veteran that had seen a lot of football by that point. The highs and lows. So when we sat in quarterback meetings, it was much more. Yes, it was coach to player. And it was Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni and Marcus Brady and myself and Jacoby Brissett and PJ Walker as the quarterbacks in the room. So yes, there was the coach to player relationship, but it was much more peer to peer, right? Because I'd seen enough football, experienced enough football to feel confident, in my own competency and how I saw things. And I think when you're working with young men, they just haven't seen as much football and haven't experienced as much football. So you might not get as much of the sort of collaborative effect, if you will, with being a 7, 10, 15-year quarterback in the NFL.
Getting your reaction from some other storylines in college football this weekend. You were a Heisman favorite a few times heading into a season. I don't know if you saw any of Arch Manning's struggles, but what advice would you give him after a disappointing start when people are already anointing him the Heisman winner and first overall pick?
Oh, this is to any quarterback. I think we love in this country putting expectations on people, but we love even more when we have a reason to tear someone down.
Yep.
And it's a long season, and whether it's him or anybody else, play football, do the best you can.
Yep. Yeah, talking to Andrew Luck. Nice enough to join us on the Uma guest line. We were just talking to one of our 49ers insiders, Matt Mayoko. He's covered the team for a long time because the Niners are playing the Seahawks this week to open the season, and Sam Darnold was a 49er for a season, and Matt made a comment a couple of years ago saying he was one of the best throwers of the football he'd ever seen the 49ers have. So we started talking almost in like a baseball context of like, a pitcher is different than a thrower, right? Like you can be a great thrower, but you got to be able to execute. And he was saying, throwing the football is obviously a huge part of the job description. Is it the most important part? What else goes into it? What's another key trait or attribute that a quarterback needs to be successful?
Oh, there's a bunch. And look, I think, the way I would tweak throwing is distributing. Can you as a quarterback distribute the ball effectively where it needs to go, when it needs to go, and that includes handing the stinking ball off appropriately, right? A big part of the quarterback's job is just making sure the ball ends up in the hands of the person it's supposed to, and more often than not, it's not the quarterback at the end of the play. And look, I think throwing is a big part of it, but leadership aspect, the ability to process information, the ability to have the ability to be a positive force, amongst your teammates, certainly would be things that come to mind before throwing as a priority in a quarterback.
Talking to Andrew Luck on the Uma guest line. So the week one is just around the corner for the NFL. What was your approach to week one? Like, I know back when you were playing, it was that fourth preseason game during Labor Day weekend. So, and the guys don't have that today. So just what was your approach like as far as just going from preseason and training camp into the regular season?
Oh, I always had the jitters and a bunch of, traditional butterflies. And I that was before every game, but especially before week one. In approach, just getting the rhythm of the season. Check all the boxes you can. And that includes chunking the game down into first and second down, third down, red zone, 4-minute, 2-minute, all the different situations. But really getting in the rhythm, because so much of preparing for a football game, for giving yourself a chance to win, is having the right process, and making sure that was dialed up.
For young players, how different is that last preseason game going into it? If you're the Niners have a lot of rookies, and we're getting ready to see a lot of them play on defense for the first time, and they've only had preseason action. I think that's important, but how different is regular season action from preseason?
Oh, it's a full game, and yes, preseason counts, so there's a score at the end of it, right? But the regular season's different, and it's also great preparation. Like it's important to get out there and play against another color jersey and get live action.
Just relating to a former Stanford alumni, Christian McCaffrey's coming back from multiple injuries last season, similar to you in 2017, where you were out the entire season with a shoulder injury and a comeback year the following year. How difficult was that road to recovery, and how satisfying was it to be comeback player of the year?
Yeah, it was a long journey, a journey I'm grateful I got to go on. It certainly affected my life at the end of the day in a very positive way, and I'm grateful I did get to come back and play football for that last year I did. And look, no one's a bigger Christian McCaffrey fan than me. I love that dude. I loved watching him at Stanford when I was done. I've loved watching him, at Carolina and here at San Fran, and he's been such a positive force for our program and helping out in recruiting and sharing some of his wisdom with our running backs this off season. But I'm excited for him. He's a baller. I mean, that dude does special things. And I hope people in the Bay Area realize how much of a treat it is for him to be out here, representing the football team, because he's just a stud, and it's fun to watch him. I'm excited for him this year.
Yeah, happy to have him back on the field. Just one of the other big storylines, Brock Purdy signed a big contract. I mean, you're a guy opposite end of the spectrum, number one pick to the last pick of the draft, but you'd send a big contract. Does anything change for you? I mean, for Brock, what's he looking at mentally this year? It's easy to say stay the course, but how hard does that, how much changes? Does stuff get in the way when you're trying to be the guy because they've paid you to be the guy?
Yeah, yes. Certainly there's some external change, and well-deserved, awesome for Brock. Yeah. But, and yes, things should change. He's not a rookie quarterback, right? I imagine he's putting more pressure on himself, as he should, right? And take the next steps and take the next steps on the progression. But I'm looking forward to watching him and that whole team play. It's hard for me not to root for the Niners because of John Lynch and Christian McCaffrey. Sure, we're 20 minutes down the road from each other.
Yeah. The ties are strong. Don't sleep on Todd Husak, our pregame co-host as well. You know what I mean? Stanford alum. So got to shout out Husak. Before I let you go, Stanford and BYU, Saturday, 7:15 on our sister station, KMBR 1050. Stanford at BYU. This is a tough test. I mean, BYU made a big run last season. They were really, really good. You guys are looking to grow each week and get better each week, like you said. What are you looking for this weekend in Provo?
Yeah, no, look, we got to come out and play good football one play at a time, right? And what a great opportunity to go up against a solid team on the road. Again, it should be a great atmosphere. We got to play good football. We got to put a game together, and a game gets put together by just doing one play at a time and living in the life cycle of that play. So that's a challenge for us, and look, our guys are embracing it. We're out here. Stretch has started at practice, so I'm about to run over and try to hit some footballs out with a boxing glove of running backs and help our team get better.
Andrew, I'd like to voice you here, Stanford general manager. Great to talk to you, man. We'll do it again next week. Good luck this weekend, and we'll do it again Tuesday.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. The great Andrew Luck, man, joins us every week.